Good morning, fellow students. I'm Paolo Torres, this is Zach Martin, and Jack Risley, and we were given the task of conducting a research study that delves into narrative inquiry. In our past presentation, we conducted an ethnographic research on our perception of student activity in selected areas. This time, however, we will be utilizing the student's perception in order to build a case problem definition from the narrative data. Because students from various pathways are interviewed, we may be able to compare and contrast their own experiences and interactions within the college. Thus, we are able to analyze and draw conclusions from particular transcribe points.
To recruit student volunteers for this research, we went around the conservatorium and QCA libraries and simply asked second and third year students if they were willing to support and participate in our project, stating their purpose as well as asking their consent to participate. Afterwards, we planned our focus groups by acquiring subject availabilities to schedule focus group interviews. In total, we gathered 3 subjects, 2 third-year animation students and 1 second-year music student. Our area of research was located at the conservatorium and QCA libraries, with the duration of each interview lasting from 8 to 25 minutes. With the method of narrative inquiry, it allows for both researchers and participants to collaborate with one another in order to analyze and understand participant experience, particularly from certain quotes within the interview transcript, which our group then analyzed, categorized, and coded any prevalent themes through quote cross-matching, making evaluations from any common themes that frequently occur throughout the focus group interview to find possible design problems and opportunities. During this process, we mainly followed Berkowitz's 6 questions when coding and analyzing data.
With this research, our group also utilized key texts and referrals as a guideline to our process. With our methodologies, we've followed the methods stated by Susan C. Bea during our data collecting and analysis process. Primarily, the quote, "The goal of analyzing and interpreting data to reduce the enormous amount of raw data that has been collected to a manageable aggregate." We've also based our aim and research mindset from Sheila Danko's Humanizing Design through narrative inquiry. Narrative thinking involves the process of developing connections between one's past experiences and those of others. It is fundamentally a different mode of thinking than logical scientific thought, which allows us to gain a deeper insight into our research data.
Through our research transcription, we were able to find pertinent quotes from each subject, primarily around personal experience and area. Within these quotes, key concepts and ideas regarding personal experiences and interactions with the campus can be compared and evaluated across subjects, highlighting any prevalent themes. Proven through our focus group interviews, a cross-matching approach was adapted in an attempt to support important quotes with other subject quotes to give significance to the argument. In observance of subject 1's quote, "The downside for me in the first year was when I moved into animation, I had no idea. I was struggling so much and I couldn't catch up. I had no background knowledge. Eventually I made friends and I eventually learned through them. The upside is to make friends through uni and get to know more about the environment because it helps you to get an idea about what you're doing. The primary codes that can be drawn are learning and practice, personal experience, work ethic, and community. The main points that can be interpreted through this quote are the subject's lack of knowledge and software skills that inhibited their learning. However, work ethic was enhanced through peer learning. This can further be supported through cross-matching with a quote from subject 3 that suggests the difficulty in completing assignments as a first-year student.
Evaluating upon subject 2's quote, I feel like there's too much theory and not enough practical stuff. We're going through how to do things, but they're not actually showing us how to do it. They just tell you how, and you have to go off and do your own research. Codes of personal experience, learning and practice, and work ethic correlate directly to the student's personal experience with a flipped learning strategy. Through this, the ideation that the subject is more favorable of practical learning strategies as opposed to a more predominant theoretical approach can be derived. A supporting quote from subject 1 solidifies this argument in the sense that they've been told what to do, but not how to do it right.
As subjects 1 and 2 are animation students, subject 3 is a music student and expresses her educational experiences through the following quote. "I get to spend so many hours a week with industry professionals who just ooze knowledge. but a downfall I would say would be the compulsory subjects. For a lot of singers who haven't studied as much theory or haven't learned as much oral training through their schooling, it's suddenly very full-on and quite tricky to pass. This quote can be associated with codes regarding personal practice, learning, personal experience, learning and practice, and community. Main points that can be acquired from this particular quote are that learning through experienced members allows for students to have added access to industry-based knowledge. Here is a quote transcribed from Subject 1 that can be cross-matched as it shares similar codes regarding personal experiences and learning and practices. It highlights that the difficulty of completing courses varies with each student depending on their past learning experiences.
Subject 2's quote stating, yeah, that's the room I like, 5.31, because most of my favorite classes are there all the way from first year to third year. And it's kind of cold in that room, but I don't mind it because, yeah, it's pretty nice and I'm comfortable in there. I have a lot of good memories in there with friends. And yeah, and so that place in the cafe will probably be the best, I'd say. Correlates with the codes of personal experiences and work area. Main points attained through this quote include the subject's favoritism towards room 5.31 due to positive interactions with the area, such as good memories and preferred temperature. This discloses with Subject 3's quote in relation to personal experiences and interaction, influencing these individuals to be attracted towards these areas due to various factors such as thermal conditions, design layouts, furniture, and past experiences.
Subject 3 describes her library experiences through the following. I enjoy being able to use the computers that are on offer. I can just go into the library, it's open most hours anyway. The only times I'm not be able to get a computer is when it's very close to exam block. They even have private study nooks which are rarely useful, to be by yourself and when you can't study at home. Codes relevant to this quote persist of work area, learning and practice, and community, which influence the key points discovered. These points include Subject 3 utilising the library when conditions aren't advisable for studying at home, with digital resources being reliable. Subject 1 elaborates further as she suggests the helpfulness and efficiency of the resources offered by the library.
Subject 2 further elaborates upon the library atmosphere. If it's quiet, like if you walk into a library and it's already quiet, you wouldn't talk loud or disturb other people, so you'd be quiet most of the time. But if you walk in and it's already loud, I'd say maybe you might join in and talk to your friends a bit more loudly, because everyone's loud anyway. So the codes prevalent within this quote is community, work ethic, and most importantly, noise. As a main point discovered is that the noise level of QC Econ Library second affects student work ethic and experience within the area. Quotes appropriate for cross-match analysis include statements from both Subject 1 and 3 that supports the ideation of noise within quiet study areas impacting personal experience and interaction.
Differentiating from a previously analysed library environment, the cafe area can be evaluated through Subject 1 quote. Cafe outside, basically that's my favourite place because we have a group called a squad. That's my favourite place. You always see people kind of like, they're not waiting for me, but I feel like they're waiting for me. So people just waiting for me to come and join. Yeah, it's not about the environment, it's about the people who are there. This quote falls under codes of comfort, personal experience, and community, and highlights that Subject 1 is not particularly interested in the space itself, but the people in which she shares the place with. It also evaluated that people who are using the cafe with her were a familiar social group comprised of fellow course students. A quote supporting the emphasis of a cafe area being the most socially inclusive area for students is displayed above by Subject 3. We've identified several themes within the focus group interview. However, with the context of our question and aim, we've split the themes into two categories: personal experience in relation to the subject, and area in relation to the subject interaction with the research location. From our findings, our group found a complication within personal learning and practice, as during the first year, students tend to struggle with the workload as a result of the learning and teaching strategies affecting their work ethic and their past experiences and background, knowledge and skills. This complication, however, was solved through peer learning, a form of community practice evidenced by the technical development of Subject 1 and 2. With the category of area, focus group data interpretation suggests that when students inhabit a favourable location on campus, like for example 5.31 or the private lecture rooms, they have been influenced by any past experience such as good memories, subject 2, or physical interactions, for example subject 3, within the space, which combines personal experiences with area, as it can be derived from research conducted that personal experiences directly shape an individual's opinion and perception of an area.
Overall, the insights that our group has learned from this research activity is student well-being within environments such as noise levels affecting a student population, exhibiting information cascade, and how personal experiences affect an individual's inclination to interact within a certain area. This offers us as researchers new perspectives on student mentality and regulation within built environments.
During this research project, we have experienced quite a number of issues concerning the aim of the focus group interview, acquiring focus group volunteers and conducting interviews. In the future, the main thing we will change is the recruitment process and the time management of the interviews.
In conclusion, from the research data analyzed, we've identified multiple design opportunities, such as possible improvements to specific learning strategies that could enhance work ethic and layout design opportunities that could offer more study rooms or minimize noise levels to enhance experience within work areas. Thank you for listening.